love it. Let's do it. Man, I wish we had Delaney and his crew's beautiful faces on here. Pura Vida, though. Make us look better if we did.
Right.
Sorry, Brian.
You know what Pura Vida means?
It means living la vida loca.
No.
Damn it. I get those.
Is that what you've been thinking every time someone in Costa Rica says Pura Vida? That's what.
Yeah, that's why I kind of went like this every time they said it. You know.
Oh, Brandon.
It means hello, goodbye, mucho aloha, and live the pure life.
That's right. There you go. You're right. Spot on.
Right. It also means thank you. We'll see you next time. It can mean a whole lot of different things.
Yeah, it means all that for
sure. Man, like you said, what a great week. Whitney Melton, the top first-time writer with almost $12,000 in production. I mean, look at that. Stuart Petch, Vanessa Dent.
That's new writers. That's what our leaderboards looked like 5 years ago for just all-time writers, not just new writers.
I know. It's crazy. And now it looks like this. Cassandra Mack, Seth Whitehouse, and John Bost, 21,880. Is that a boast to you, Spivey, or would you go Bost? Boom,
I'm going Bost.
All right.
I'm going Bost.
Let us know in the Q&A. Is it Bost?
I'm going Bost. That's Bost.
It's got to be a boss. If it was Boast, Spivey, there'd be a line over the O. Duh.
Well, I'm just saying that I would be boasting if I was the top producer in the company.
Maybe you misunderstood the question.
Oh, sorry.
I'm with you. Monique Alrawi, Saltrice Hightower with 16. Both of them, Chad Parker, James Satterfield comes out of retirement from Metallica and writes 21 apps for the week. Way to go. Top Medicare Sup writer was Brenda Cox. Top disability writer was Lee McGraw. $4,430. You think Lee McGraw used to be a country singer? That's a great name for it.
Tim's nephew.
Bo Hirschfield, $17,321 on the IUL board, barely edging out Seth Whitehouse, who barely edged out Arthur Ponce. Top annuity writer was the animal, Mike Leidecker, $1,041,382. Way to go. Top DFL writer, Stuart Petch, followed by, good Lord, did we misplace a comma? Rangel Peters, $94,632. Hello.
Guys, it's important to note, like Casey mentioned when we started this call, that last week was a all-time record in sales with Symmetry, guys, and much appreciation goes to our annuity, our IUL, and our debt-free life producers, Mike Resma and his entire team. A lot of that advanced market stuff has really been pushing here lately with the economy the way it is, the way the housing market is down. It is the time to lean into these markets, guys. Get involved with the Reset program. We're going to hear from Mike here in just a few minutes, but congratulations to all of you advanced market writers.
Well said. We got confirmation in the chat that it is both Boast and Bost. One of them said Spivey got it right, and one of them said that I got it right. So I like both of them. Jamie Susie, the top new writer getter in the base shop. Jacob Pogue in the direct organization. Way to go, gang. JPV, top base SNA producer, manufacturer, we'll call him. And Scott Mank sitting at the top, number one on the direct SNA manufacturing committee. Way to go. Look at all these SNAs. This might be a record too.
Boom. It is a record.
It is?
Right. Let's go. Yes, sir.
I love it when we break a lot of records, guys. Not just one. I'm going to pronounce these names and I'm going to get all of them partially correct. Basile, Ingram, I'll do it right now. Hatfield, Hurst, Morocco, Trejo, Curtis, Raymond, Cruz, Barraza, Holtberg, Veal, Knight, Guyan, Raspberry, Spinks, Lopez, Davis, Boyd, Bailey, Swain, Watkins. Hey, look at there, Watkins. Shreve, Kitzinger, Collins, and Otero.
Well done.
What's your favorite name on the board? Give it to me, Spivey.
I'm drawn to this Stuart Kitzinger. How you nailed it.
Thank you.
I will say that last week in your absence that we did have Jamie Susie come on and read these names, and she might have outperformed you.
I have no doubt. that she did.
I will also say, in a moment of transparency, this might be one of the more difficult lists we've had yet too. So,
well it certainly was the longest list. So there's always that.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I like Raspberry and obviously Watkins.
I know. How do you go against Raspberry?
Yeah.
Lori Raspberry.
How about Savannah? What a pretty name.
Savannah's beautiful this time of year.
Mm.
Brandon Trejo. I like all these names, guys. Not singling anybody out. Your parents, all of them did a great job. Especially Hugo Barraza.
Can I show this right quick? Because looking at the last name Ville, Jeffrey Ville, I've got to show this. How do you not? I got an opportunity to influence the lunch order today, Brandon and Casey.
Dude, I know. I'm going to need a nap after that. Was that veal?
It was bacon wrapped meatloaf served over mashed potatoes and mushroom gravy.
It's really good, dude. I forgot to put in my lunch order, and he surprised me with a special, and now I need a nap.
It was like a brontosaurus meatloaf, man. That thing was huge.
It was so good, though.
You guys aren't gonna believe what I had today.
Salmon.
How'd you guess? All right, Cassandra Mack, way to go. The Mac Attack, Alan Smith, Amy Alders Anderson, Jennifer Gray, Mark Musafer, and Rita Sarkeesian. All of you with 2 recruits. It was our first 5-way tie. And our top new writer for the week was Helen Griffin. What does she look like? Your guess is as good as ours. Same with you, Cassandra Mack. You guys get us some pictures. Or we could start doing what we used to do, Casey, fake pictures.
Yeah.
Spivey, put that on the list starting next week. Anybody who makes the leaderboard and we don't have their picture gets a fake picture picked out by us. John
Duly noted.
Jerry Choate, and Sue Adams, 4 new writers. Way to go, leader agency owners.
Nice.
Top agency directors, David Alvarado, Larry and Ann Griffin, and Sarah Reinecke. Way to go. Regional agency directors, Eileen Balmer, Jerry Cantrell, and Mike Casey tied down there. Way to go. Top MVPs, marvelous Marlon Faulkner. Chris Cook is the top recruiter. Brad and Kira Gainey with 5 recruits. Speaking of Chris Cook, Todd, is Tennessee starting to make you nervous at all?
I plead the 5th.
Fair. Kyle and Lisa Kimbrell, number 1 on the senior vice president list. Nathan Offert and Kyle and Lisa Kimbrell. That's how we round it out. Executive vice presidents, we go Mank Tank, Darren Stubbs. Way to go. Associate partners, Linwood, Ryan and Michelle Miller, Linwood. Senior partners, Edward Pritchett. Keep that number in mind, 1.151. Is that a record, Eddie? Let us know about that. Speaking of Eddie, man, I hope Edward is okay. A lot of thoughts and prayers, obviously, going out to Puerto Rico, who was hit by another devastating hurricane with a lot of flooding and power outages. And
he's without power, without Wi-Fi, and without AC, but they're doing good.
Well, at least he's got an ocean he can go jump in if it gets too hot.
Yep.
But thinking about you over there, everybody. Yep. He swept the senior partners board, though. Congratulations, Eddie. Marshall Whalen, 1.140.
Man,
I'm talking like Doc Brown, 1.14 gigawatts.
yeah, Purdy and Delaney too. Monster weeks.
I know, man. Look at that. 85 and 32. Top direct, Jacob Pogue, Edward Pritchett, and Jacob Pogue. Well done. Top base shops, Ashley and Tyler Harris, John Ziller with 11 recruits, and Jamie Susie with 4 new writers.
Nice.
Got some promotions this week also. Elite producer, Victoria Shue. Top producers, Anthony Ack, Chad Parker, Kelly Bush, and Mattery Way. New team leaders, Becky Snyder, Eric Frias, Eric Placencia, Henry Lamb, Jamie Cuppernell, Josh Kean. Or did we decide that was Quillen?
Quillen
like a villain, that's right.
Quillen like a villain.
Julio Reyes, Karen Allen, Lisa Buhol, Marco Scolari, and Nicole Russell. welcome to the Override Club, everybody. It's a club that generally most people don't leave. You know, attendance to the Override Club is like, once you're there, it's like going to Costa Rica 4 seasons. You don't want to miss it again.
Go back now.
Christopher Harrer, Jody LaFrance, Michael Matthews, Nicholas Redmond, and Spencer Tran, all key leaders. Like it. 6 new AOs. Kerry Aguilar, Gabe Ross. That's your boy, Spivey.
Let's go.
Representing North Alabama in Gabe Ross. Jamie Cortan, Jama Foote, Kelly Rogers, and Kelly Bush. Way to go. All right, AOs, your first assignment now that you're on the AO board is send us your picture.
Jama wasn't playing around. He got it done.
These agency directors, they're so used to having their names called. We got all the pictures. Look at James Larson, Michael Vigil, Ryan Gasca, Stephen Brenez, and Sue Adams. What a good-looking group of people. Congratulations, agency directors, for having your first. It's like your first job. Right?
Yeah.
Congratulations. Kyle and Lisa Kimbrell are now associate partners. Way to go.
Let's go.
Way to go, Kimbrells.
Done.
Esther Carlson, we got to celebrate the recent promotion. Right. Congratulations to Sarah Reinecke as well. Way to go. Now, you ready to be blown away by some numbers here? Bam.
Hello. That's just ridiculous.
Now, Brandon, that's what they made total, right? That's not.
This is their bonus.
Oh, that's just their bonus.
Bonus.
Okay.
It's their bonus money. Manzano, if you want to get in on the equity bonus money, you got to pop out a direct.
Right.
That's what you got to do. Christopher Cook, Darren Stubbs, love it. John Perez, top producers bonus receiver with $3,700. Way to go. So $951,000, almost 952, 55,000 and 100 grand just about on producers for a grand total of $1.1 million.
Good heavens.
Look at that slide.
I like that slide. Y'all take a picture of this slide real quick and send it, put it on social media and send it to somebody that you want to go to. You want
Guys, this is before the carrier bonuses and everything else, the contest. Ooh. I mean, that's just coming from Symmetry. This is silly.
Bonus.
We're going to be looking at some massive slingshot bonuses coming in too, with the
starting next month
with the s'more factor. So
starts this month earning, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Doing business with John Hancock. You could have had this same call 120 years ago if you wanted to.
They've been around a
little differently.
Yep.
Been around for a minute.
Yep. VP of Advanced Market Solutions, Mike Resma, who we're about to have on here in just a second. Man, I'm getting so many amazing texts about digital leads, Switchboard, and Razor Ridge leads. Don't forget, if you write a DFL policy or an infinite banking policy between now and the end of the year, you get $150 Razor Ridge lead credit, brought to you in part by Forrester's Financial. Every Advantage Plus 2.0. It's going to pay out monthly in Razor Ridge gift cards. Turn one policy into 10. I like that. No cap on the bonus. Earn as much as you want, guys. Forrester's is just giving it out. All you got to do is go write one. Go get one approved. Hey, we have an AO Academy coming up. And if you haven't been, you need to come and you need to get registered and all that good stuff. We haven't had one in a little while because things were going on. But we're back, man.
And it was announced earlier, Brandon, too. B-Dubs opened it up a little bit. Now that we've got everybody that's not been before registered, we've got some more spots that we're making available for those that have attended in the past that just want to come plug in. We've got Mike Resma going to be training on resets. We've got Edward Pritchett in the house. I believe Jamie Susie's coming to town to talk about recruiting. There's going to be so much opportunity at this Agency Owner Academy to talk about digital leads and Switchboard, and Jay Nesbitt and the entire Switchboard team will be in the house. So great opportunity for existing AOs too. But as always, we'll have limited seating. So make sure that you're getting on HQ. It is one of the 3 active banners that will scroll across your screen in HQ. To get registered, do so quick so that we can prepare appropriately. But there is limited seats.
Better get on it. Champions Cup standings for all of the rules and regulations. Head on over to HQ or talk to your trusty upline to get you updated. John Perez is currently out in front, and Rusty, y'all need to pick it up a touch because he's starting to run with it. He's running with the ball. Not quite to the 2-minute drill yet or anything, so don't worry about that. There's plenty of time left. We're still kind of first quarter, you know what I'm saying?
You just got to stop that inside trap.
If you could just stop the inside trap, it might help you. Jamie Susie, same thing.
We're the only people on the call that know what that means.
There's a few other Tide fans that were around back in 2005 that get that. Excuse me, 2006. And actually, if you want to be honest with it, it was January of 2007. John Paul Vetter, 393,000. That was a bowl game, which is why there's confusion there. I mean, our winners right now are winning. I mean, let's look at this. We'll go back. Look, you got Perez out in front. I mean, quick jump by Susie. JPV out in front by a substantial margin. Guys, it's might want to get on it. We also have Symmetry Destination 2023 that we're also qualifying for currently. Qualifications go all the way to the end of the year, so get there. And man, there's already some people that have qualified. Lots of people that have qualified.
Brandon, Casey, appreciate you guys. We know that we wanted this year to open it up and have it to be to where more producers qualify that haven't quite qualified yet on the builder side. They're doing it with their own personal pen. I know we've got updates right now that we've over doubled the average amount of producers that are qualifying for Symmetry destinations. So huge gratitude for you and Casey to continue to open your pocketbooks and bring as many as they can to associate on such a special trip.
Thank you, sir. It was a great time as always, man. We'll have a lot more of our buddies attending next year, it looks like. Quility Digis, their one-time orders, SLOs, and one-time orders, I should say, all can be placed directly into HQ. Leads are flowing directly into Switchboard. You got to have an active Switchboard account. Getting some questions on how do I get an active Switchboard account? I've been waiting. Onboarding currently about 75 to 100 a day. So get with your upline, get a request in, make sure that you are staying on top of it because, man, we're about to talk to some people that are having amazing results right now. Digital standing lead orders are filled first from these sources, which is great. So if you're not getting the number of resources, number of leads that you need to start right here and with Razor Ridge. And if you're saying, well, I would like to, but I can't because I need to get on Switchboard, then I believe we've got it set up now to where if you put an SLO in, it should trigger to move you to the top of the line ahead of people that may not have an SLO, either for Quility Digitals or for Razor Ridge. We can verify that. Thank you, Mr. Miner. 8-week NEPQ training call. Thursdays at 12 o'clock. That begins in next week. Is that right? Where are we today? Yep, next week. Next Thursday. Casey's going to be on there with him, sparring with Jeremy Miner. Jeremy is going to bring you up in front of the crowd next time. Ask you all the questions.
I'll make him sorry about that.
You would. You'd be selling him, wouldn't you?
I've heard a lot of feedback on this so far. With a lot of teams already digging into the platform that Miner offers. So you guys dig in on this, sharpen those skills, sharpen those conversions. And I've heard we just got off an agency owners call a little bit ago, or an advisory board call too, and that was at the top of the list as far as focus on a lot of these leadership teams. Is obviously digital lead, Switchboard. FIF research, which Resma's going to hit on, and then, reimagining sales, this just Jeremy Miner stuff, digging into this. So get it while it's hot.
I love it. All right. Sorry, I'm answering texts on how I butchered people's names. I'll do better. Try. Man. One of the things I think that we're most excited about, it's hard to narrow it down because we're so excited about so many things, but man, if you're into, free money, if you're into helping clients without having to actually be the one that helps them, if you're into making passive income just by popping questions, if you're into making override income by hiring people that will generally have the best sales jobs on the planet because they're going to be tossed so many great leads, you need to be paying attention. So Mr. Resma's on with us to kind of talk about what we're seeing so far in the FIF reset program.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. What's up, Symmetry Nation? How you guys doing? So update for FIF resets, the last 2 weeks. Now, this was as of yesterday. Got some interesting numbers from this morning also for the last 24 hours. But over the last 2 weeks, we've had 600 digital FIFs filled out inside of HQ and 124 confirmed resets. So we're still at that 20% reset ratio based off of the data that's been filled out. Now, when you analyze the data and yourself as an agent, the agency owners, they can see the data that have been done for them and also the downline. When you look at it, really 50 to 60% of them are a reset opportunity. So we still, obviously this is new, we're getting into the water stream, we're changing up our process. We really want to be able to offer support for you guys to get additional training because there are a bunch of opportunities to help out more people. Something that really stood out to me over the last 24 hours is we had 100 FIFs filled out just in the last 24 hours, and 24 of those were resets. But looking at the data, out of those 100, we had a whopping $12 million worth of assets uncovered in just 100 digital FIF forms. So if we think about this at scale, and we write about 3,000 apps a week, we're setting probably 5,000 to 7,000 appointments a week. So imagine right now on this small scale of just 100 digital FIFs, and we fast forward 6 months, 9 months, when everybody's integrated this into their process. If 100 forms could equal $12 million worth of assets, how much could 1,000 forms or 2,000 forms equal in assets? And we've got some big numbers of some ones that have just sold. I don't want to give it away today. I want you guys to stay tuned for next week's call. We might have a couple special guests highlighting some massive payouts that just happened recently. But this opportunity is second to none inside of the industry with creating this automated way of being able to reset somebody else to do all the work and you guys get compensated for it. So we still have some help that we need from you guys, the agency owners and above, with getting the DFL agent pool set up. And I want to make sure that everybody is aware that we are offering a 4-week training course for all hierarchies. If we need to do one big week, like we're here to help me, Jeff, Nate, Melissa, we're all here to support you guys, because this is a huge value proposition, not just for the clients that we serve, but also for our organization. So, but think about that, Brandon, $12 million worth of assets for just 100 forms. And extrapolate those numbers to full scale.
I mean, it's ridiculous. So you've been working on some projections. Do you have projections for once, when we're running, 4 million, 5 million a week in premium, and everyone is using the reset, involved and engaged with the reset program? Like, what does that translate to for just premium for the entire company, and then like passive income?
Yeah, absolutely. So the, we had a target. We knew coming out of conference, there's a lot of rollouts. It was going to be a slow play. We got to focus on getting Switchboard and digital leads and MyQuility and all this. So we had a target for the end of this month, 800 resets a week, which we're on track to hit, which is good. But we fast forward 12 months, our target is 1,000 resets a week. And once we get to 1,000 resets a week, that will equal roughly $1.2 million of submit a week, almost $5 million of submit a month. We're talking about $60 million of premium coming in to the organization over a 12-month period once we're at that 1,000 a week reset opportunity. And when we look at the data, absolutely doable. It just comes down to implementation. So now when we're talking about overrides to agencies, we kind of addressed that a couple weeks ago. You get 5 agents doing 5 resets a week. I mean, you're talking about, for an average 20% override, anywhere between, an additional 100,000 plus of passive income for those agencies. It's a great opportunity. We're making sure people are taking care of the agents the right way through these certifications, and it's a great opportunity to help out more people.
$100,000 of passive income as a writing agent that is, and I think that writing agent was doing about 6 or 7 apps a week personally.
Yep. Right.
So we're not talking about somebody that's out there doing $24,000 a week in premium, making an additional $100,000.
No, we had one $6,000 payout for one case for the referring agent. Last week we had a $30,000 commission payout. Last week it's
so we had one agent.
That's just one case. That's just one case.
We had one agent make $30,000. Was their split?
No, 30,000 between the organization. I'm
Okay,
getting the
was
payout
the hierarchy.
the
Okay.
payout invoice on Friday, so I'll share that information next week. Yeah, once the payout happens, it's
That's crazy.
going to be massive.
Y'all need to put some
Can you
Q&A
talk
love
also-
right here, man, for
Love that.
Resma. I
Talk
mean,
also about someone.
Brandon and Casey, it's been great working for you guys, but I'm
I know. Hang out in the field.
Right.
Any feedback on the FIF? Anyone out there that's not currently making FIF part of their presentation? I know that's what this training course is about, but outside of just the passive income and the stuff that comes from what happens when you hand the FIF off to the team, what does it do for your actual just presentation, your relationship with your client in the moment too?
Yeah, it eliminates objections, and it helps create a logical and emotional case as to why they need the protection that you're offering. If you don't know what current insurance they have, you don't know what assets they have, you're opening yourself up for potential objections down the road. So you can use that information, identify why they have it, what the deficiencies are in the coverage, the term amount, what they're losing in their assets, objections of using, I could just use my assets to pay off the mortgage. If you're not uncovering this information, it's hard to create that logical and emotional case, because what a lot of people do is they sell based off of just price and cost, and then we're just a quoter, and that can leave ourselves open to some persistency issues down the road. Right? When you come from a value-based sale or a problem-based and solution-based sale, by analyzing their information, it just sets up that business to be more sticky, higher persistency, then you uncover the other opportunities to help them out. So we have training documents on how it helps out the mortgage protection. We want to help you guys with the training. For those of you who aren't doing a financial fire drill, we got your back. We're here to help you. Me, Jeff, Nate, and Melissa. We're doing everything that we can to make sure you guys have everything you need to be successful. That's
perfect, man. It drives trust. It's like, imagine if you had a health problem or you had a problem and you went to a doctor and the doctor didn't ask you anything about your current situation, didn't really do a lot of fact finding, and then just prescribe you some sort of medication or a treatment or, it's like, how much would you trust that doctor? So it's like, man, it drives trust when you actually get in the home and you follow this script, you follow that FIF. Then we can talk about all the awesome. So you drive conversion, you drive close ratio, you actually help the client. The policy is a lot more likely to stay on the books because you've uncovered that emotion and that need logically with them. And now let the FIF team come in there and get some passive income flowing on it with additional stuff. And you just talk about timing wise right now with the products that, on the DFL stuff, annuities, IULs, the market in turmoil is prime time. That's why we're seeing such a big tick up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Advanced markets have been averaging over the last 4 weeks, roughly 25 to 28% of our submit over the last 4 weeks. And it's because of market conditions, but also now, we've got the proper certification. It's taken us 2 years is what we've been working on to get people properly certified to understand how to write these products the right way. There's a lot of people who haven't been trained, and you can definitely hurt clients by incorrectly selling these. So now we have IUL, DFL, and annuity certifications inside of Quility U, which leads us to our next slide, which unlocks some beautiful, beautiful DFL, IUL, and annuity leads. So once you guys go through and do the certification, then you have these advanced market lead opportunities available to you. We just got out a pilot for the annuity ones. We ran 300 leads for this annuity pilot, and it just ended a couple of weeks ago. So they're still in their second, third week appointments, working on transfers. But in just 300 leads, and we didn't even meet with all 300, but we uncovered close to $60 million worth of assets were uncovered with just 300 leads. So typically annuity leads inside of this in the industry range between $300 to $500 a pop. And just know that is not going to be our price. It's going to be much less than that. And even if you got 10 leads and just sold one, which conversion is higher with the average case size, you're still 5Xing your investment based off of the higher average case size and commissions. Even if you only just sold 1 out of 10, but you're likely to sell 2 out of 10. So the profitability is there, the wealth is there. And when we've shared this to some of our partners, they were blown away with the amount of wealth that we're seeing with these leads at this cost. So those will all roll out. Same thing with IUL. So just make sure that you guys, if you're in advanced markets and you want to get those leads, if you haven't gone through the certification, make sure you do that. That will unlock your ability to get the leads, and then those leads will be available shortly next month.
Really good stuff, buddy. An idea of what to expect. You said industry wide, they're as much as $300, $400, $500 a pop. They're not going to be the price of term life leads. They're not going to be the price of razor ridge leads. They're going to be expensive, but they're going to be so cheap when it comes to value and what you can actually get out of those. So I think you can anticipate finalizing the data now, but you can anticipate that they'll probably be around $100 per lead.
Yep, $100.
Transparent with the data. We don't want people. Matter of fact, you can't buy these if you're not certified.
That's right. Absolutely. $100, that's 25% of the industry average. And what we're seeing with the average case sizes of this, just think about it. Even if you bought 10 at $100, that's $1,000 is your cost. You sell just one of them. The average case size that we're seeing is 157,000 off of these. 157,000 times a 5%, that's $7,500 APV. So $7,500 APV with your commission level, you're easily 5Xing your investment, even if you just sold just 1 out of the 10.
That's a good rough way of how we look at it. All annuity contract levels are different, that sort of thing. We kind of equate it to what it is, basically the equivalent to on a life sale. So also on leads, thank you, Resma. That was awesome. Also on leads, giving everybody a heads up. I don't know if you're watching the housing market, is completely fixed. For those of you that haven't been paying attention, everything's back to normal. Just kidding. It sucks. So unfortunately, because of that, you will see a lead increase on the mortgage protection, the direct mail leads, that is, and potentially even mortgage protection on digital, because there's just not data. So we're not making light of it. We're saying it sucks. The good news is last week we did close to 8,000. I think it was 7,500, closer actually to 8,500 total digital leads out. If you are not working digital leads, you got to get on Switchboard. I understand that. We're working through that. It's a big process. You need to have an SLO in immediately. Mortgage protection leads are going to go up. The good news is, because of Switchboard, especially on the call-ins, we're starting to see those be a little bit more profitable, right? So our commitment is that we're going to continue to be transparent on lead value, but don't be surprised if we say mortgage protection leads can't be guaranteed to return a 4x return on investment. It may look closer to 3.5. That doesn't mean that there's still not people out there, even with an increased rate, that could be seeing an 8x return. Yep. But I think where we're going to is for newer agents that never have worked leads before, it may not be in their best interest to try to start on mortgage protection leads, because the cost may be just maybe too much for them to kind of get started, right? When you talk about value-based leads, Casey, and I want you to kind of to hit on this too. The one thing that is not factored in to the cost is the acquisition cost for us. It's our job to make sure that the acquisition cost remains in that sweet spot for you guys, so that we can charge what we need, so that you can get the return on investment. So we're not here to say that it's always going to be a 4 or 5x return on your leads. We may not can guarantee that. And the reason we can't guarantee that is because we may not be able to get the leads we may not be able to acquire the leads at a reasonable cost. So, if you're an agent out there, Casey, how are you hearing what I'm saying? Or if you're an agency owner?
I'm hearing it in that, again, there may be lead types over time where, to your point, the acquisition cost is too high. So the model may say for that lead card that it's 3.7 times return on average. So we're still going to be as transparent as we can on what we feel like we need to charge for that lead. But if what that lead price is means that we can't guarantee that the average would be 4, but we have to lower that to the average is 3.5 or 3.7 times return on your investment, then you just have to understand, where do I fit in this? Where do I fit in the, am I in the upper 20, 30 percentile of closers in the company? Am I pretty good? Am I pretty seasoned? I still may want to buy those leads if I need to, if I don't have enough digital leads, life leads, Razor Ridge, whatever, then I may have to dip down and say, I'll take my chances. I know I'm a closer, and I'm not going to have problem turning at a minimum 4 times, because you keep in mind the value-based lead pricing is the average is 4 times. So that means there's a lot of you guys that are out there closing 8, 9, 10, 12 times. We're not even factoring in a lot of the passive income that's coming up past some of the stuff Resma's talking about too into the equation. So that's the way it's going to have to be, especially on the mortgage data, just because, as you guys are seeing, the market is taking a dump. No one is wanting to buy or refinance homes because the interest rates are so high. So that just affects data. Good news is we are turning that corner right now. And that's why it's exciting to get Delaney and team on, because they're going to give you a little feedback as to what they're experiencing.
I think Casey it sums it up with the way you guys started the call. We're probably at, while we're sitting at the least amount of direct mailing leads, last week we set an all-time APV record in sales.
And an all-time
think about that
record,
for a minute.
Spivey, in leads out, total leads out.
Yeah.
So we're at an all-time, not all-time, 3-4 year low in direct mail mortgage protection leads out, yet an all-time high and an all-time high on production. So
that's
incredible,
big deal for our company. That's that's one of the biggest and best things that's happened to our company in 12 years.
Yeah. And you think about
for 12 years, right? We've been seeing the writing on the wall, Brandon. We've been waking up every day going, people are not going to continue filling out direct mail like they used to. People just aren't hitting the mailbox anymore like they used to. B, there's going to be ups and downs in the mortgage market. So we've got to prepare ourselves for figuring out how to do things digitally. And that's what we're seeing progress on, which is why that's a massive deal for us.
We think about timing, and we've always said, just how important kind of timing is to everything that we've been able to accomplish. And you think about when the pandemic hit and what were the tricks that we had to learn through that with virtual selling. And Brian, go ahead and unveil Delaney, because I'd love for you to kind of feel free to jump in and weigh in on this as well. Having to go through the virtual transition at a time when mortgage data was like at an all-time high because people were financing loans, right? We were able to make that transition. During that transition, we also were able to create one digital product with more coming, which also makes it much easier on Switchboard. And we were able to partner and continue to drive and create Switchboard, the engagement tool. So all of these things happened. I wouldn't say perfectly timed out, because if it was perfect, we'd be where we were 3 months ago, 6 months ago, when the mortgage market really started to crash. But you guys are so far ahead of where everyone else is that has been working not only direct mail mortgage protection leads, but direct mail anything, also final expense leads. There are a lot of agents out there struggling, and the messaging that you guys are putting out there around the value of Switchboard, around the value of QLT, around the value of the digital lead program, on top of the partnerships that we just rolled out and the things we're rolling out with MyQuility, timing is perfect. So you need to be taking advantage of that. Brian, I got, you talked to Casey, and at the same time you're talking to Casey, I got several texts this week from not just AOs that are in the field, but AOs that have been out of the field for a while that are saying the right things. You know, Miranda Martin, Amy Fine, you, Delaney, so many people in your organization. I won't start naming names because we literally have heard dozens of folks that have, for all intents and purposes, have been out of the field. They jumped back in for two reasons. And I think the one reason is they need to see if this works. Is it all that they're hearing it is? But I think from a leadership perspective, it really is the most important thing that you can do to kind of lead from the front and say, look, I know change is hard. I know that, you know, we're disrupting the way that we've always done things. I want to jump back in here and figure this out. Amy Fine was my most recent text. She said I think her first 3 Razor Ridge leads came in and she wrote 3 policies, each of them issue paid in their inbox in 15 minutes or less. And I think her words were, so long or long gone are the days of phone teams or long dial sessions or something like that. That's a hard thing for us to grasp a year ago.
Yeah.
You know, this is a really complex, we've been running this business for 12 and a half, 13 years with a certain formula. And Brian, so grateful to have you guys on because you were one of those that rolled your sleeves up in the past couple of weeks, jumped in there and have began figuring this stuff out, man. So we would love to just hear your perspective and your take on it, because before this, how long did it have been, Brian, since you have been in the field personally?
First of all, Brian, Delaney, and I'm, so grateful for you guys and the mentorship and generosity of not only you guys taking your time to invest in me, but Edward Pritchett, the generosity of his example from day one to today. Like, I'm here as a representative of Edward to pass along the message that I was stubborn, and that I when he showed me the way, 2 weeks ago, he wrote like 13, it was close to 15,000 in production in a week. He did. He's running a business that's 3 times.
This was the guy that just got the bonus for $150,000 or something earlier, you know.
Listen, it's crazy. So I finally decided to call him and get coachable, right? Because we're in a recession-resistant business, but we have to have recession-resistant mindsets, right? And this business is evolving and has one, right? We're continuing to make intuitive decisions based on what we see and based on what we know, right? In order to put ourselves into great positions. And for me, it was a long past time. So I called Edward up. It's hard to be humble, right? It's especially the bigger your bank account gets, the more difficult it is to be humble, right? And so I had to be willing to have a beginner's mindset again, which is one of the toughest things. Entitlement is the enemy. Entitlement is the enemy, man. It's like, well, I shouldn't have to do that because I did, right? If you shouldn't have to, you wouldn't. But if you do, you did, right? And so Edward showed the way, and he told me, you know what you have to do? You have to get back out in the field. So I ordered some leads. I got a bunch in Costa Rica, so much speed to lead, right? I'm like the worst example. This is like a Ferrari that I've taken a Sawzall, cut out the bottom, and a Barney rubber on this thing. Like, this does not have to go perfectly. You just have to do it. And so, like, my feet are running since Saturday. So on Saturday and Monday, all I did was I just contacted people who wanted help, and I was able to write out 8 apps for $59.60, get 5 referrals. You guys are talking about cost of leads, man. There's no cost of leads. There's cost of not asking questions. There's no cost of lead. There's no cost of lead. I just asked these people who are great people, who could call, and we had, Tim Penso and Jesse Bacharach and a number of members from our team just say, why don't we just start asking questions and go from having the leads be a bridge from where we're out of obscurity to the place we all want to be, which is working with people who we have a reputation with, right? Because we've helped their family. And it's crazy how much is on the table right now. And it looks like a lot, but this isn't a spectator sport. You guys have always, from day one, I remember when you guys were on the leaderboards. Every single week, like, you guys were on the leaderboards running this company. And it wasn't about, do I have time? It's what will I make time for? Because we know that our example is the most valuable thing we have to offer our business. And that's all Edward asked me to do, and all he's ever asked me to do was to be great and make way for others to be great. And that's what you guys have asked us to do. And I just like, it's just time to stop resisting that. Like the resistance just causes more pain and difficulty down the road. Today we can pay the price. Tomorrow the debt might be too high. Right. So just,
That's awesome,
you know,
man.
that's, I really appreciate you guys being willing to,
Well,
do everything that you have done, right? That I don't even understand. I'm sending out my Quilly links like crazy. I'm just like sending, oh, hey, forgot to tell you, but oh, by the way. So,
I know, what a great, oh, by the way, too.
Like the terminal illness accelerated benefit rider, but now it's like my Quilly. It's so much cooler than it used to be.
Really is a cherry on top. Well, thank you, man. You know, I think it's such a great example of what your team is doing, because really, as we said several months ago, as we were kind of rolling a lot of this stuff out and going through version 1s and trials, and it's so important to have that front line of leadership, know what they're doing and how to do it, because it really, as it always has been, it's so important for us to have that front line of support also. Not that we're expecting everybody to be able to roll up their sleeves and become tech experts and know how to troubleshoot and all that, but it's like some of the things when we're dealing with new people trying new technology, it's like they're uncomfortable with it. I completely understand it. I'm getting a new iPhone in 2 weeks. It's being shipped out and I'm already nervous about it because it's got like all this new stuff I've got to learn. So I totally get it. But what I have heard resoundingly from everyone that has tried this is, holy bleep, this is a game changer. I'm getting so much of my time back. I mean, just that text yesterday that I was talking about from Amy saying 45 minutes, probably took her an hour and a half. First call closes because they're already all primed and ready to go. Each policy closed in 15 minutes or less. That's just crazy. And that's what's happening right now. And it's only going to get better because, as I said, we did 8,500-ish leads out on the digital side last week. That number can grow. Our estimation, seriously, that number can grow to 100,000 a week. So what are you waiting
for? That's a big deal.
Some people are saying, I'm waiting because I'm trying to get on Switchboard. I hear you. We'll have an update on that going out today.
Totally get that.
Yeah.
And Brian, you may hit on this with your guys here in a second, but you kind of mentioned this hourly net worth thing at the gym. That's what Brandon and I used and what many of you guys use as your kind of barometer for like, when is it time to kind of get myself out of the field and start spending more of my time in building and leadership and that kind of thing. And some of it comes down to just, what are you worth an hour? And, when I was in the field, I was worth maybe a couple $100 an hour, but when I was building and I was recruiting and leading, I was maybe worth $500 or $600, $800 an hour or more. And then that continues to grow. And then all of a sudden it becomes kind of a little bit more expensive for you to be in the field, which is an incredible problem to have, right? That's the beauty of Symmetry, is that there comes a certain point where you're like, it costs me too much to be in the field. Well, do your math, Brian. What were you worth in the field an hour last week because of these digital leads and Switchboard?
It's like 850, 900 an hour.
And it's the best absolute thing you can do from a leadership standpoint is to lead from the front. So it's like now it's like both things are aligning. It's a really cool place to be.
And that's the thing. That's a multiplier effect, right? Yeah. This business is about duplication and leverage. And if I'm out there providing an example, it's not only am I worth that out in the field, but how many other people are following that example? And how many people's like I'm texting some of my AOs. I'm just like, so what'd you do? How'd you do that? Right? Because you got people like Rex Knight last 2 weeks only on through Switchboard, 22 apps for 25K last 2 weeks, right? Tracy Roccanello, she's in her first month of key leader. She's got to have time to build. She's just doing this leadership thing and trying to figure this out. 17K for the month on Switchboard. Jesse Bacharach, the first week doing Switchboard, 8730 in APV for an $850 investment. Also has 5 after sale referrals, right? And there's so much more business, and these people are just here. Listen, as a leader, my people are either going to grow with me or grow away from me.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And this is survival of the fittest, the most able to fit. And listen, the doors to unlock wealth, right? Sometimes are heavy, but they all swing on hinges. And that hinge is our example, and that hinge is our ability to influence. And if I'm as a leader not doing anything that's getting people curious enough to ask me a question, then I lose. I lose out on the opportunity. And that's where I can look at Edward Pritchett and I can say, "Look, this guy's got me curious. Like, I'm asking him questions like, what the hell? Like, why are you doing? Like, I'm confused, which makes me curious, which allows him to have influence. And he's showing me the way. I look at people like Marshall Whalen still building his base and just like crushing it on that side. I look at these top leaders, Danny Young, so many new writers and I still have to call him this week, right? And he's just like, there's this example that's being set. It's an active example rather than a passive entitlement. And that's what we have on the table. And I'm either going to lean in or regret that I didn't, that's about it. And I just choose the better one for my family, my future, and the people around me. That's all I'm trying to do. And I'm not like, the heroes here are the clients who want to protect their families and they're willing to go to us. And the heroes are the agents who are willing to just like lean into this thing and just say, I'll figure it out. Like, I'm not going to be scared of a future that is uncertain, that I'm going to be somehow insecure and not have what I need. You'll have what you need because you are what they need.
Yep.
You are what they need. You're a licensed agent who can help protect these people, and you might make mistakes, but we make money through mistakes.
Yeah.
It's like, that's where all the money is made. And yeah, I'm thrilled that I'm thrilled that I stopped and that I kind of decided to, pull my head out and do some work. So not that I wasn't working before, but it's just different now. So I'm not sure if I can say that. Is there a 6-second delay? I don't know.
Yeah. How much time can you give us with your team here on everything we're talking about? Because I know there's a lot of eager people listening in. So
I want to unlock 15 minutes. Is that possible to do? I know we take up some time.
Guys, this is important. I don't want to take away from Brian. I'll let him introduce properly, but you're going to hear from some of the individuals that have been leading from the front, who have been successful early on with digital Razor Ridge leads and Switchboard. Get out your pens and paper. If you're struggling, if you've not made the jump, if you're a leader and you've not challenged yourself to get back in the field yet because you're not sure what the next steps are, make sure you get out your pens and paper and taking notes here. Brian and his team are about to explain some absolute nuggets and specifics to what you can do next to be successful starting today.
This is big momentum time. It's the gold rush. I know we've went through several little gold rushes in our company over the years. This is a big one. This is an opportunity. So all of you guys out there that are kind of wanting a piece of this thing, this is one of those moments in the company history where, things are going to be, relatively easier to get gold in the pan. So now's when you say, is my shovel big enough, or do I need to go rent a backhoe? And it's time to rent a backhoe if you're not already. So dig in with them, Brian. We're gonna stay on, but kind of mute out for you so we don't take up too much time. Go for it, buddy.
Awesome. Yeah, if I could have my three guests unveil: Eric Eiserman, Preston Sentler, and Gino Locklear. Okay, so I want to set this up properly because I think one of the biggest fears that people have is of the unknown, and our job is to make the unknown known. Okay. So like, that's the deal. When I remember my son being super young and learning how to ride a bike on two wheels, right? The first time he crashed, he didn't throw the bike away and say, forget it. He hopped back on the bike because the prize was worth the price, and the prize was going to be exceptionally more, right? Because riding the bike was the non-negotiable, right? Enduring a little bit of struggle or confusion or a little bit of embarrassment, even on the front end, he didn't care about that. Right? He didn't care about that. And so we have to have kind of like, not the childish mindset, but the childlike mindset and heart set to be willing to be a beginner until we can become an equal. Whether you've been here for as long as I have, which is 11 and a half years now, and today is the best day of my business. And that's just not a mindset, that's a heart set. And that is my actual circumstances that have been created by this company. And I get to introduce three people who are actually making that true for themselves currently at different time. They're at different levels of their business. The first gentleman, I'm going to run through all this information quick, and then I'm going to interview each one of them in particular. I've got Mr. Eric Eiserman on here. Eric is a relatively new member of the Delaney Agency, part of the Newsom, Penso, Cordaro, Andreotti team, and just awesome how he is setting an example and removing excuses. Only been here for 9 months, okay? 9 months, already a top producer. He qualified for 2 carrier kickers and the destination kicker. We just were in Costa Rica, got to hang out with Eric and got to see him there. Got to hear him talk about his villa. I love that. I'm just coming down from my villa. And that's what happens when you put the work in, right? 22K placed last month on Switchboard. 22K, right? Placed. This is paid. These are families protected money in his pocket. Fired up to speak with Eric. He's going to have some nuggets for us on metrics and what he has found. How this not can be easier, but can be better for you and allow you to multiply your income through your effort. Preston Semler, been with us for 2 years. He's an agency owner and top producer. He's done $34,000 in production already this month. That's all I do need to say, but it's not all I am going to say. He's becoming a leader of leaders, and he's duplicating himself. And so fired up to have you on with us, Preston. Not only watching you do this for yourself, your family, and your future, but as to be as big of an impact as possible to everybody around you, right? Last guest who I'm going to talk to, you guys know him. You guys know the impact that he's made on the organization. Not only has he been here for 4 years, he's also a top producer. I remember when he was cut back calling 50-cent leads, booking 1 out of every 2 to 3 of them, which always blew my mind. It's a beautiful business when you get to hire people who have strengths that are complementary to your own. And I say that because they're better than mine. But I remember walking out of Casey's Bar a number of years ago when we first found out that COVID was going to change the way we did business. And I called this man and I said, I need you to cancel all your in-person appointments and do a virtual appointment. He said, what's a virtual appointment? I was like, I don't know. Can you find out for me? That week, he wrote 4,000 in production. He was the first person to write a virtual app within this company. I know there's going to be some contention around that, but I literally walked out of that meeting and I watched him, and he led the way. He spearheaded that for our agency and for this company. Now doing the same thing with Switchboard. He's not only a Switchboard ambassador, but just in the last 4 weeks, over 30,000 submit, 19,000 placed in August on 10 Razor Ridge leads a week. And what I want you to understand is your job is not to get 10. Your job is to get the submit number that you need, the place number that you need, and then back engineer the leads, right? And so Gina's going to help us with that. But let's get started off here with Mr. Eric Eiserman, if you wouldn't mind just unmuting real quick.
Morning, Brian.
Morning. So grateful to have you here. If you don't mind introducing yourself to everybody, because they may not know your face now, but they will later on. That's for sure.
Yeah, Eric Eiserman, direct to Vinny Andreotti, Cordaro, Penso, Newsom, Delaney, Pritchett, Master, Hierarchy, and very grateful to represent that. It's an honor to be on the call today. I certainly appreciate being invited. I'm here to answer any questions you have and be as helpful as I can for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Go over some of the metrics that you think are highlights that are telling you that this is fuel on our fire. We still have to be the spark, but this is fuel on the fire. What are some of the things that you're seeing that impress that upon you?
Yeah, so when I go back through, so first of all, tracking my data and counting what counts gives me the opportunity to look back through every single month that I've been producing, which is imperative for me to be able to identify such things. I started out, 35, 36 hours of dialing, right, in a month in order to meet the activity requirements for me to produce what I needed. That is down to, as of August, my last completed month, to 6.5 hours of dialing.
Say that one more time. How many hours to how many hours? I want people to understand this.
So 36 hours originally per month coming in, doing things as designed, down to 6.5 hours for the entire month of August.
It's powerful. We're not trying to be efficient with people. We're trying to be efficient with processes and effective with people. And that's exactly what you're explaining there. So what is that? How does that change your business? How how does that impact the way you get to do things on a weekly basis, the way you get to be, husband, father, in your business, grow your business? How's that making an impact on you?
So the first thing that's identifiable is I'm able to achieve a lot more Monday through Friday rather than dipping into the weekend, even though that's an acceptable sacrifice if that's how I'm designing my required activity. But at the same time, that's still something that can be valuable to people, especially people with family. I'm also finding that, during my recruiting efforts that I have for the first half of my day, right, I'm able to actually just manage and monitor that rather than setting specific dial times. I can kind of just monitor what's going on in Switchboard. And by comparing what I've got in opt, because I'm updating my opt every lead, I'm updating what the situation is with them. If I booked an appointment, if I've got an open invitation from Switchboard, because it'll actually change the status of that in opt. So I can just cross-reference that. And in between things, when I'm running interviews, right, when I'm running production appointments, having some lunch, whatever, then I can do these things that were once required for me to block out specific full days or hours of required labor to doing dialing. And so that's bringing my time way back, but also I'm achieving a lot more when I'm not having to assign that time specifically to dialing.
I love that. I love that. See, one of the things that Switchboard allows people to do, and there's a lot of people who are waiting to get on Switchboard, but they're waiting for you to complete your training, right? And so just make sure you're not putting yourself in at the back of the line. Get that Disney Switchboard Fast Pass and get on it, right? And so the biggest thing that I'm hearing from you is allowing Switchboard to help you to control your calendar. And that was one of my biggest struggles, was calendar control. Calendar control. How do I control my calendar? How do I back myself into a corner that helps me to make decisions like the person I want to be, with the income I want to have, who has the lifestyle and relationships that I sincerely desire for myself and other people? And so we get to reverse engineer it and use that as a tool it's almost like an accountability tool for us, and a communication tool that's just warming these leads up. What have you found inside of your conversations to be different from when you were doing 36 hours worth of dials to 6 hours of dials? How have the conversations changed for you, and what does that do for your mindset?
Yeah, it's refining it so that when I am having interactions, they are already primed. They are the ones I've already kind of weeded out a lot of the people that aren't necessarily interested in having this conversation with me, or going to have a little bit more resistance and challenge. So of course, it's going to keep me in a more positive mindset. I'm going to have more valuable conversation time in that smaller amount of time that I'm having, and it's going to render me a lot more results, as well as allow me to help these families with what they intended to get in the first place when they initiated this contact. So it's all just more efficient and effective.
I love it. I love it, Eric. Thank you for your continued example. Look forward to seeing you as you continue to not only be a producer that removes excuses, breaks records in our agency, but becomes one of the top leaders within the industry. And that's possible for you here. So fired up, excited for you. Awesome.
Same.
Excellent, excellent. So let's move over to Mr. Preston Semler. Preston, I've gotten to watch you. You have been, it's kind of like we don't do what we want, we do what's necessary. And you've made success here in paying your bills on your own pen as a leader and as an example to the team, something that's necessary. How does Switchboard and working digital leads help you to do that on a monthly basis?
That's a great question, Brian. First and foremost, Preston Semler, direct to Josh Busick, part of the Alderson, Cloutier, Spieldenner, Delaney, Pritchett hierarchy. Just incredibly grateful for each and every one of those gentlemen. Brian, appreciate everything you've done and continue to do. As far as the digital leads go, for me, it's you can own your schedule more. Kind of like these guys were saying, having that flexibility that it seems like whenever you finish up an appointment, you're getting ready to transition to the next stage, there's always something to do. There's always, somebody there that's ready to talk, whether it's somebody that just came in that's fresh, or a lead that was 8 months old that just now decided it was time that they want to speak with us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love that. And it's really kind of pushing this data up to you. So you're just in this responsive state. One of the hardest things when you go from being an employee to being self-employed is moving from being a responder to an initiator, right? To being somebody who's doing what they're told, to somebody who does what they want, right? And that's that to me is so clear in what you're doing. So there's people right now who are sitting on the outside, right? They're not sitting on the outside because of time. They're sitting on the outside because they were like me. They were resistant to this idea. It's not the way we always have done it. Like, I've got all my trophies, right? But it turns out these are just souvenirs from places I've been, not any indication of where I'm going, right? They might be in that position. What would you say to the person who's on the outside looking in, who's thinking that it seems really complicated, I'm not sure if I can do it?
Come on in. The water's warm, you know, just being as leaders, you know, with us being willing to embrace change and lean into the uncomfortable, like we've heard so many times today. You know, it's exactly what my mentor, Josh Busick, taught me to do. But when we grab a hold of something that's brand new and we learn the ins and outs of it, and we share the potential, we share the excitement, but more importantly, the results of it, it becomes a giant snowball. And from there, it just goes throughout the agency to where, you know, on my personal pen, I'm having a record month already. You know, my agency has smashed its record month this month. And I have agents on my team like Brandon DeHaven, who wrote 12K last night from Switchboard. Got another agent, Ryan Hoffman, who's having his best month ever, just hit Slingshot. Over half of his production from Switchboard. Over half of my 35,000 this month is from Switchboard. So it's just embracing it and just taking it and running with it.
I love it, Preston. Thank you for being the type of leader who goes first, right? It's a lot easier to, I remember Joel Skeen saying years ago, it's easy to jump when you've already seen somebody jump. You, all three of you are some of our earliest jumpers, and people like Aaron McLean, and we've got plenty of folks in, who was a big part of our virtual revolution as well. First agent on virtual appointments in his very first month doing that. He wrote 50K in his first month. Crazy. And I know that was in no small part to you just breaking the way and making the jump first, Gino. And, man, I was talking to you the other day and I got fired up. Like, it's been a long time since I've been fired up to sell. Like, everything we do is sales, right? But yeah, we're getting fired up on the production side. And I was just talking to you and just hearing your clarity and your passion. I want to hear from you one practical tip that someone who's just gotten into Switchboard can do today to make this process so much better for them. What's the first thing? What's one thing that you would have them do in order so that they can get the most results for the time that they put in there?
That's good, Brian. And Gino Locklear, direct to the one and only, one of our newest 120s Managing Vice President, Jordan Hunt, the one and only. Let's go. But Brian, my one tip would be is Switchboard, Razor Ridge, mortgage protection, Quility leads, like it's all a tool that we have access to. So the same way we treated MP when we came in here is the exact same way you should be treating Switchboard, Razor Ridge, or Quility leads. Is go in there, do your due diligence, understand the system, understand the processes, and overall just give yourself a chance to be great.
That's awesome. Talk to us. So you get on the phone with a Switchboard lead. Let's role play that real quick. What does that sound like?
Oh, okay. All right.
Ring. Hello.
Hey, Brian. This is Gino Locklear with Quility Insurance. We just received your submission for life insurance. Just so you know, you're in the right place. It looks like you said your favorite hobby was golf. Is that right?
That's right.
Gotcha. And it looks like you're looking to place Tori as your beneficiary.
That's correct.
And I have you as 38 years old.
Yep.
All right. So help me out here, Brian. Are you looking for whole life insurance or term life insurance?
Boom. There we go. Love that opening. Just make sure you replace, for everybody out there, just like they said on the customer facing side, we're going to say sit with Symmetry Financial Group. Feel free to use your agency name. I just say I'm Brian Delaney, right? They say, who's that? I'm just a broker with Mutual of Omaha. Have you ever heard of them, right? So Mutual of Omaha, Transamerica, all are A-rated carriers, right? So I love that. And one of the things that I noticed was, and it was one of the first questions I asked you. I said, what's a text that you send when somebody replies that they are looking for the coverage, but you still need to gather information? You're going to try to do that by text. What's the text that you would send there?
Yeah. So typically, if they're not picking up that first phone call, Brian, I'm gonna shoot them over a text. Hey, this is Gino Walker with Symmetry Submission for insurance. Hey, just so you know, you're in the right spot. Looks like you told us that your favorite hobby is golf. You're looking to place your wife Tori as your beneficiary, and we have your age at 38. Is that all correct?
That's correct.
All right. Are you looking for whole life return?
Boom. Again, whether it's by text, whether it's by voice, it's all the same thing. What we're looking to do is communicate efficiently so we can communicate effectively and get these people covered, right? This is not, a lot of times what I'll do is, especially in the beginning with something new, I'll oversell. And so there's going to be a bunch of words that come out of my mouth, like word soup that comes out of my mouth that tries to make me look like a hero. Like, let me tell you about the features and benefits and this thing, and that, and I just like lower my posture every time and turn myself into an unsophisticated beggar. But as you can see, what we're doing here is we are just trying to spark that question. And listen, we're a broker. Like, talk about that position for you, being able to spark these questions and what you've seen it do for some agents who may not have done, like they may not have killed it before with us, but now we got this new tool. Can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing around some of those agents who are like, they're in a renaissance in their business right now? You've been bragging on them, so let's hear about it.
Yeah, absolutely. One specifically, his name is Kenneth Stoll, Brian. He's been a part of my organization. I think we hired him a little over a year ago, and for the 12 months that he was here, he has never issued over $5,000 in a month. And you're probably like, well, maybe he wasn't working. This man was working. This man came to the office. I was helping him. We were educating him. We were sharpening his skill sets. It's just, we couldn't move the needle. And it got to the point where we were like, hey, I think you might need to go get a job, because you got a family, you got to take care of them. Like, this isn't working out. So for almost a year, he wasn't present within our agency, but he was present with the company. He stood close to the fire with our updates, stood close to the fire with our Facebook pages. And he got access to Switchboard before my key leaders got access to Switchboard, Brian. And he started running Razor Ridge leads. I'll never forget it. I was in Target. We was in Target, and I get a notification on my phone. Kenny Stoll 2 applications for 2,700 APV instantly approved. I immediately called him. I said, "What are you doing?" He was like, "I got on Switchboard and I ran Razor Ridge." And his very first month back was last month. He submitted right at 18,000, issued 92% of it. He was at an 80%. So with Slingshot, he went straight to 85% with a Slingshot bonus of over $1,900 in bonus money. And today is the 21st. He's already at a little over $13,000 for the month, and he only does Razor Ridge.
I don't think there's anything more to say.
No.
Honestly, we're all here now. We all get to be here. It's not about what was right then, what we've done before, what we haven't done before. It's what's right now. What's right now. We're in the middle of being in the prime position to disrupt this industry with leaders who are willing to do what it takes. Now we have to be the leaders who are willing to do what it takes. I thank each and every one of you for being the leaders who will do what it takes. All the people from the team that continue to do that. All the leaders throughout the company, and especially specifically Edward Pritchett, because what he said, this is going to be a $10 billion company, but are you going to be a $10 billion business partner? And I say yes.
Man, I can't thank you guys enough, Delaney, what you always continue to do to lead from the front for this organization as a legacy advisory board member and somebody that we continue to call and lean on for advice and guidance, buddy. I appreciate your heart, appreciate your dedication and partnership to this company. So great to hear from you, Preston and Eric, and to provide the details and the specifics and to share a little bit exactly what you've accomplished. We appreciate every single opportunity that we've had to hear a little bit from your story today. And Gino, especially, buddy, this isn't the first time we've had you on a call. It's not the first time that we've rolled out something new that you jumped in and decided to be one of the first to raise your hand and really pioneer a path forward, buddy. And the way that you do it from a professional manner is going to build an agency that is going to be truly life-changing for so many individuals. And we can't wait to continue to see that, Gino. But I also just really appreciate how specific and purposeful or intentful you are when you do things like this, to take notes, to watch your metrics. You're not just simply trying to figure out how to make sales for yourself. You're truly keeping the greater good of the company in your mind, buddy. And for that service, we're forever in debt. So Casey, I'll let you close it down, buddy.
Oh, thank you guys. Appreciate all of you. Let's go out and have another monster week. Let's keep these records rolling. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Have a good week.